I am Ray, and your thoughts are not actually yours. They were just programmed into you by people trying to control you. Not good. You see, there's something I call the monster mind. And this is like the evil force behind everybody trying to manipulate and control you to steal your life juice. You could call it the Lord of the Matrix, the Lord of Illusion. So what happens, we're born into a false world that is this box. It is a construct. And all the little people go in here. And well, we all believe that this is the true nature of reality. But it's like never leaving your hometown and thinking that's the world. And so long as you're living in here, you are told what to thought and conditioned to do what the rulers want you to do. That is where the idea of being a battery in the matrix comes from. There is this kind of parasitic demonic force that needs juice, and you become that juice. Human juice box. You feed the construct and it gets bigger and it gets bigger and stronger. How does it do this? It does this by getting you to believe stupid things. Because the monster mind feeds off negative energy. Meaning, your fear, your guilt, your shame, your limiting beliefs, your negative thoughts about yourself, about others, about the world. Everything negative. And you see, the big issue is, if we live from our senses alone, meaning that what we perceive to be true with our eyes and our ears, if we live by those things alone, we're going to remain a slave because we're living in a construct, a false world. So, if we believe what we see to be real, then we're going to stay stuck in it. Now, I want you to try something out with people. Next time you see a people, pay attention to the words that they speak. Once you start saying this, you can't unsee it. I could speak to you for like 3 minutes and understand exactly why your life is the way it is. Because the words that you speak reveal a lot about you. I say if people only paid attention for one day to the words that they speak and the thoughts that they think, they would have no question why their life is the way it is. Because your words spring forth from your identity. And so when people use negative words about things, I automatically know kind of who they are, at least in that area. Let's just use one example that I hear all the time, and it has to do with money. You want to be rich, huh? You want to stop being broke? I'll show you. If you start paying attention to when other people say these kinds of things, you'll pay more attention when you do it. That is, saying negative things about money. Like, well, the gas prices are really expensive nowadays. Man, groceries, eggs. It's all so expensive. The economy's going down the toilet. I hope you know that this is all garbage. It doesn't exist. It's not real. Fugazi. It's fake. Money's fake anyway. It's like saying, well, if something costs $1 million Monopoly dollars, is it more expensive than 1,000 Monopoly dollars? It's just all fake money. You are infinite abundance. Remember, have you forgotten? Don't make me get out the swords and remind you. This is the difference between someone stuck in a construct and someone who is free. The moment you become free, you realize, oh, wait a minute. I am the source of infinite abundance. I can have anything I want. I can do anything I want. Now, be responsible. Don't abuse this power, or you shall get the swords. But the point is, you don't got to struggle like a monkey anymore. But we imprison ourselves in our own mind with our stupid thoughts, stupid beliefs about stupid things. All limitations are self-imposed, mostly. We think we're seeing the world clearly. That is why, in a mad world, the realists lose. Because if you look in your wallet and you say, oh no, well then, yeah, you're going to stay stuck. And you're going to stay stuck and you're going to struggle forever until you figure it out. And make no mistake, people spend their entire lifetimes struggling endlessly because they don't figure it out. All it takes is watching one of my videos. Come on, it's not that hard. In the age of information, ignorance is a choice. And so you start paying attention to the words that you speak. And you realize you're speaking things into existence all the time. If you say, I'm stupid, I'm not good with money, I'm not good with this, I suck at this, this hasn't always been my strong suit. I'm always, we put ourselves in these little boxes unconsciously. And we become a slave to that identity. That's why I don't agree really with claiming like a mental illness. Like, oh, I have ADHD. How do you know you're not just normal? and society's the problem. But then the construct says, well, because you're not being a good pawn in our little game, you're wrong, and you've got a problem, and you need to change. And if you don't change, well, we're not going to play with you anymore. Or you see it all the time with some kind of physical health crisis. Like if you get cancer, because it's such a big thing, and it taps into our survival instincts, we almost immediately build an identity around it. I'm fighting cancer. I'm a cancer survivor. I went through this. This is what I did. And, well, you get caught in the psychological drama of it. And that's not very fun. Eventually you realize that we suffer more in imagination than in reality. As Eckhart Tolle once said, the primary cause of our unhappiness is not what happens to us. It's our thoughts about what happens to us. And the moment you really see that, life changes forever. Because you realize that you always have the opportunity to respond differently. Like Viktor Frankl once said, the last of the human freedoms is to choose one's attitude toward their given circumstances. And he was in Auschwitz. So I think that guy knows what he's talking about. Meaning, it doesn't matter what is going on in your life. It's all about the way you respond that will determine whether or not you will be successful or a failure. Meaning, staying stuck in negativity, in suffering, in pain, and misery versus, freedom, love, and joy, and peace. And perhaps even a little abundance. It's an oxymoron, I think. But you have to break free from the chains, my friend. The chains. You have to change in order to break free from the chains. And in order to change, you must first become aware. The moment you start paying attention to the words that you speak, you'll stop putting yourselves in these stupid boxes. It's just that we're living unconsciously, so we don't realize what we're doing. And that is the whole game of the construct of the monster mind. This box is illusion, and consciousness, it's darkness. That's why they say everybody's asleep, and that is why they call it awakening. Wow. Because you're awakening out of the dream construct thing. And you're moving out over here. No longer a slave. But so long as you're living in here, well, the monster mind has power over you. But once you step into the light, well, what power does the darkness have in the presence of the light? No power. And where do we make the mistake? We wrestle with the darkness. We try to fight it. That doesn't make any sense. It's like throwing punches in a dark room. What's going to happen? Nothing is going to happen. Except you're going to get beat. You're going to beat yourself up. When all you got to do is turn on the lights. That's all. This is why I don't really talk about spiritual warfare anymore. Because it's like, so 2003. I was like 7 years old back then. Meaning, after a certain point on the spiritual journey, you stop entertaining all this garbage about demons and the Satan and all these negative things. Because that's only relevant for people in here. Yeah, if you're in here, you better be afraid, because they're coming. But the moment you break free, it's like, oh, who are you, demons? I like to use the monster mind because it's just an easy way to understand this force kind of screws with us sometimes. But remember, the mind can only focus on one thing at a time. So the more you're wrestling with evil, with negativity, with your negative beliefs, your negative self-talk, oh, I shouldn't have said that. Now you beat yourself up for saying something stupid. Continuing to fuel that negative fire. It's like, no. You don't got to wrestle with your addictions. You don't got to wrestle with your problems or all the negative things in your life. It doesn't have to happen. Because again, you don't want to fight the darkness. Resist not evil. You just want to step into the light, and the evil goes away by itself. In other words, you shall know the truth, and the truth shall set you free. You kind of start to see why people struggle their whole lives. Because they're just always busy struggling with themselves, their problems, the negativity. They're putting out fires all the time. But in this reality, there are a never-ending stream of problems. It will never end. You fix something, 10 more things pop out, like a hydra. So it serves you no good to just try to force life to be the way you want it. Like, okay? Meaning you're just always trying. You're always trying. You're always trying. Stop trying. Just leave the box. And everything works out by itself. Because, well, the light is the source of all harmony. All love, joy, peace, everything you want. It's the light. Don't you know this? So once you connect to the light, once you seek the kingdom of God, then everything else will be added onto you. And you don't have to do anything to get it. I mean, on the surface level, yes, there's action, there's thoughts, there's you doing things. But at a fundamental level, it's just life doing life. The light is the life. And so when you surrender to the light, life can most easily flow through you. And you can most easily flow through life. But here, endless struggle. This is why I teach enlightenment before reality creation. Because if you just try to create your reality in the construct, it's gonna be hard sometimes. But the moment you recognize your true power as the divine, then you can do whatever you want in here. And I'll go through more of this on my new masterclass on April 26th. Join us. And if you're watching this from the future, I'm sure there'll be a link to the video somewhere. The point is, before we go out and try to make a life for ourselves, you want to start reflecting a bit. Be conscious of your illusions, your unconsciousness, the ways you are trapped by your limiting beliefs, by your limiting identities. And you do this by becoming aware of the words that you speak and the thoughts that you choose to entertain. Imagine how God would perceive you. You're already perfect in all of your imperfection. Unconditional love, like you're a little baby and God's the parent. God just wants to give you everything. Everything that you want, everything that's good for you. But what do? We just, oh, no, I'm just going to go struggle on my own. And God says, well, okay, go ahead. I'll be here. God has patience. And then eventually we suffer so much and say, oh, well, what I was doing wasn't actually working. Because it's very hard to take on the burdens of the world from the limited state of consciousness that is the ego. That is this persona that we believe ourselves to be. And so on the spiritual journey, it's all basically about one thing. You continue to surrender to the present moment, to life, to God, however you want to see it. And what happens is that these attachments that we have stored in our body, they pull us back into the evil construct, into ignorance, unconsciousness. We get pulled back into darkness, and then we use our awareness to return to the light. Oh, I just got triggered. I'm attached. There's this limiting belief. There's this limiting identity. Let's pay attention to it with our binoculars of wisdom. The light dissolves the darkness, you return back. Then you just go about doing your life again. You get pulled back in. Same thing, over and over and over again. And you know when this happens is because, well, when you're in light, you feel light. You feel free. You feel joy, peace, and love. And when you get pulled back into the construct, you feel constricted. You feel suffering. You feel cold. It's not nice to live in here. And so you'll have this kind of feedback loop where you'll say, well, it becomes continuously more painful to get pulled back into here. I'm just going to stop entertaining this nonsense. And you stay permanently in the light. And once you've stabilized in the light, then you can return to the construct and the darkness has no power over you. But so long as you're kind of in this vulnerable state, it's easy to get pulled back in again and again. And the secret to know whether or not you're growing closer to the light or further into darkness, it's very simple. Either what you believe is negative or is positive. Either it's serving you and your best life or it's not. Because negativity is the force of darkness and positivity is the force of light. And what we want to do is learn how to transmute the darkness and turn it into light. Because, well, darkness is infinite. We're not running away from it. It's not going anywhere. And so if we try to repress it or run away, it's going to create a lot of problems. You're going to be too attached to the light. You're going to suffer. It's like being an angel in hell. You're not going to have a fun time. Promise you that. But if you learn how to master both sides, then nothing has any power over you ever. You are a master of both the darkness and the light. And so what we do, we kind of have a reframe in our attitude. Set an intention to improve yourself. And then what happens is that you begin using the construct, you begin using the monster mind as a servant rather than being a slave to it. And so your problems, struggles, addictions, negative thoughts, All of the things that we suffer with in this life become a tool for our highest spiritual growth, because it's all about your attitude. You either have an attitude of self-destruction, oh, these things are ruining my life, this sucks, I hate myself, I hate life, or you have a productive attitude. Oh, this is revealing something about me that I can improve. It's revealing where I'm attached. It's giving me the opportunity to grow closer to the light, because the highest truth is beyond good and evil. Both the darkness and the light are equally important. They're equally good. We just, in this Western society, have a split in our psyche because, well, pretty much religious conditioning. We say the dark is bad, the light is good. But the pathway forward is through the darkness. It's through the struggle. And so what happens is that you become more and more aware of the ways you're trapping yourself in this mind prison. You pay attention to your words and your thoughts. And you say, that's not serving me very much. I wonder why I even think this in the first place. And you'll realize that a lot of your beliefs and a lot of the things you think are not even your thoughts. But it is through these things that reveal the pathway forward. And because we're always trying to avoid them, we never actually learn and grow. So moving forward, I want you to just start paying attention. And maybe even write down, what is the one thing in your life that is giving you all this kind of trouble? You keep experiencing the same negative things over and over again. And that is your next level in your spiritual growth. You begin this kind of journey of self-discovery, because everything around us is a reflection of us. So, if we're experiencing these problems, well, 9 times out of 10, we are the problem. And instead of trying to fix things in the matrix, in the construct, you heal yourself, and you naturally become free. The problems begin solving themselves. So, step 1, identify the problem. Step 2, become aware of your thoughts and the words that you speak that are building this mind prison, keeping this problem in your life. Then realize that the thoughts and the problems and the words that you speak are nothing but a reflection of your underlying identity. And that is where you open the door and you begin to ask yourself, why am I like this? You begin questioning the nature of your reality. What is going on here? Because that ignorance, that unconsciousness cannot survive the light of your awareness. So all you got to do is start peeking through, peeker, and you just walk the journey. And everything unfolds naturally. And you'll see, you'll get to the root of the cause, I promise you that. As long as you keep having that intention to grow and expand. I am Ray. Visit my cool store. Also, my new program is out. For now, it's called Monster Mind Mastery, where I will show you how to break free from the prison of your mind, so you don't have to struggle with negative thoughts, overthinking, rumination, anxiety, all of these things that make you feel powerless and keep you trapped. So if you're interested, there's a link down below. Much peace and many blessings, and remember, just be.